Your car might not be broken, and if you have spent money trying to fix a rough idle, bad fuel economy, or sluggish acceleration, there is a high chance you fixed the wrong thing, because your engine can literally train itself to run worse over time. And the worst part? It can look exactly like a mechanical failure, even when nothing is actually broken. Almost no mechanic resets it properly. Here's what's actually happening inside your engine's computer, how to fix it correctly at home for $0 in parts, and the two critical steps that almost every version of this procedure skips entirely. Without those two steps, the reset does almost nothing. Stay with this video until the Relearn section. That is where the real results come from, and it's the part nobody talks about. Why your ECU builds up problems over time. Every Japanese vehicle built after roughly 1996 has an engine control unit, the ECU, that does not run on fixed programming. It learns. It adapts continuously to your fuel quality, your altitude, your driving habits, and the gradual changes happening inside your engine as the miles add up. Here's the part nobody tells you. The ECU does not know what's right or wrong. It just keeps adjusting, even when the data feeding it has gone bad. Think of it like this. Your ECU is stacking tiny corrections for years until it's completely out of sync with reality. A mass airflow sensor reads slightly lean. Adjust it. Carbon buildup changes airflow. Adjust it. Different fuel brand. Adjust it. Sticky EGR valve. Adjust it. Every correction stacks on top of the last. Now imagine that happening for 100,000 miles. What you end up with is an engine running against itself. Old corrections fighting new corrections. The system is not broken, it's confused. And a confused engine produces every symptom that mechanics routinely blame on worn-out parts. A 2018 study published in the SAE International Journal of Engines documented measurable fuel trim deviation in high-mileage vehicles with completely intact, non-faulty sensors. The sensors were fine. The accumulated adaptive corrections were the problem, and that misunderstanding is what costs people hundreds of dollars over and over. What the symptoms look like. Here's where it gets interesting, because these symptoms are gradual enough that most people never connect them to a single cause. An idle that floats between roughly 600 and 1000 RPM at a stoplight instead of sitting rock solid. A flat, vague feeling in the first inch of throttle travel, like the engine takes half a second to decide to respond. Fuel economy that has quietly dropped 8 to 15% over 2 or 3 years with no obvious mechanical reason. A rough stumble at cold start that smooths out after a few minutes, and that brief hesitation when you pull out from a stoplight into moving traffic. None of these symptoms force an emergency shop visit. All of them will produce real diagnostic codes that a scan tool will attribute to real components, and all of them can be caused entirely by accumulated ECU drift, not a single failing part. That's the trap. What this procedure actually is. Before going into the steps, here's where almost every version of this procedure fails. They skip 2 steps, and without them, the reset does almost nothing. So let's be precise about what this is first. This is not a battery disconnect. Disconnecting your battery does clear some ECU volatile memory, but the adaptive fuel trim tables and long-term correction data are stored in non-volatile memory that survives a battery disconnect in most modern Japanese vehicles. It's an incomplete, imprecise interruption. This is also not the same as clearing codes with a scan tool. Clearing codes removes stored fault history. It does not touch adaptive learning tables. The full procedure covered here is a controlled, graduated shutdown sequence that allows the ECU circuits to discharge in the correct order, which is what enables the deeper memory tables to fully clear. Japanese dealerships have treated this as routine maintenance. In the United States, it's almost never mentioned. This is where most people mess it up. They use a shortcut version and wonder why nothing changed. The full reset procedure. Step 1, and if you skip this, the entire reset fails. Your engine must be fully at operating temperature, not started and idling in the driveway, actually driven. A minimum of 15 minutes of highway driving. A cold or partially warm engine will not complete the idle stabilization phase the way it needs to. Step 2, once you park, turn everything off. Air conditioning, rear defroster, heated seats, every accessory drawing current. You want the absolute minimum electrical load on the system before the next phase begins. Step 3, this one is easy to rush, and rushing it costs you the whole result. Let the engine idle completely undisturbed for 10 full minutes. Don't touch the accelerator. Don't rev it. What's happening during those 10 minutes is the ECU settling its current operating state into a clean, stable baseline before the reset wipes it. Step 4, shut the engine off. Now wait 30 seconds exactly. Step 5, this is the core of the procedure and the reason it works differently from a battery disconnect. Turn the ignition ignition to the on position, dash lights up, engine stays off, and hold it there for 60 seconds. Then fully off, wait 30 seconds, repeat that complete cycle 3 times total. Those key cycles allow the ECU capacitor circuits to discharge in a controlled, graduated sequence. This is the technical difference between this procedure and a battery disconnect. An abrupt battery disconnect interrupts the system mid-process. These cycles allow the adaptive memory tables to close cleanly before the volatile memory clears, which is what produces a complete factory reset rather than a partial one. And now here's the first of the 2 steps most versions skip entirely. Leave the car completely alone for a minimum of 2 hours. 4 hours is meaningfully better. Overnight is best. The capacitors in the ECU continue discharging for an extended period after the key cycles finish. The full reset of the adaptive tables doesn't complete until that discharge is done. People who try this and report 0 results almost always cut this wait to 20 or 30 minutes. That's exactly why most people see no results. The wait is not optional. This is where the reset actually happens. The second step most people skip is coming next, and it's the one that determines whether you get 80% of the benefit or the full result.
The relearn phase. After the long wait, restart the engine. The idle will sound rough and unsteady for the first 60 to 90 seconds. That is a good sign. What you are hearing is the ECU rebuilding its idle control parameters from factory defaults in real time. Do not touch the accelerator. Let it idle for 5 full minutes and watch it settle. Now the relearn phase begins. This is where most people think the job is done. It is not. The reset clears the memory, but the ECU immediately starts relearning, and how you drive the next 20 to 30 miles determines the quality of everything it builds. For the first stretch after restart, drive gently, nothing above moderate speed, smooth, gradual throttle inputs, no hard acceleration. You are letting the ECU establish clean idle and low speed fuel values without throwing complicated high load data at it before the baseline is stable. After those initial miles, work up to highway speeds with natural, varying throttle. Do not use cruise control during this phase. The ECU needs real throttle variation to build accurate fuel maps across the full operating range. Those moments where you lift off the throttle and let the car slow on its own, do not fight them with the brakes. Those deceleration events are how the ECU learns its lean fuel trim correction values. They matter. Avoid short trips for the first 2 days if you can. Every cold start that gets shut off before the engine reaches operating temperature interrupts a learning cycle. Longer drives during this period produce significantly cleaner results. Here is the second critical step that almost nobody includes. For Toyota, Lexus, and Honda vehicles with electronic throttle control, which covers essentially everything built after 2003, there is a separate throttle body relearn that must be performed before the procedure is complete. The throttle body has its own adaptive position memory. Without resyncing it to the freshly reset ECU, some vehicles will continue showing a hanging or slightly elevated idle because the throttle body minimum position no longer matches the new ECU baseline. With the engine at full operating temperature and running, slowly depress the accelerator pedal to the floor over 3 to 5 seconds. Hold briefly, release slowly back to idle. Repeat 3 times. That allows the throttle body to register its full range of travel and sync its minimum position to the new ECU parameters. Skip this on a Toyota or Honda, and you will likely end up blaming the reset for an idle problem that is actually just an incomplete sync. When this does not apply, this procedure will not fix a genuinely failing sensor. If your oxygen sensor is physically degraded, clearing the adaptive tables built around that bad data will not make the sensor accurate. The symptoms will return within 2 to 3 tanks of fuel. In that case, the reset has done something useful. It has confirmed the problem is real and not just accumulated drift. The procedure also does not address mechanical wear, worn piston rings, a leaking intake manifold gasket, significant valve carbon buildup. These are real problems the ECU has been masking. Clearing the compensation may temporarily make symptoms more noticeable. If that happens, the mechanical issue needs direct attention. Active check engine lights with hard fault codes should be investigated before performing this reset. Pending or historic codes are fine. An active fault means something is broken right now. Address it first. And if you have recently replaced a component and the car still doesn't feel right, the reset is often exactly what closes the loop. But if symptoms persist more than 500 miles after the full relearn, the replacement part itself deserves a second look. What actually changes when the procedure is done correctly and the relearn phase is followed? Idle stability improves within the first day. An idle hunting between 600 and 1000 RPM at stoplights settles into a consistent, locked number. Fuel economy improvement shows up within the first full tank, typically in the range of 8 to 15%, with the higher end appearing in vehicles that had the most significant adaptive drift before the reset. Throttle response sharpens. That flat, vague quality in the first range of pedal travel becomes more direct. Cold start behavior normalizes. The stumble in the first 60 seconds of a cold morning startup becomes cleaner. These results hold across Toyota, Honda, Lexus, Subaru, and Mazda because the procedure addresses the actual root cause, not a component, but a system-level condition that builds across all modern ECU-equipped vehicles over time. Here's what to take away. 1. Your ECU learns continuously and over high mileage builds layers of adaptive corrections that begin to conflict. This creates real symptoms that get misdiagnosed as fail parts every day. 2. The full reset requires a warmed engine, minimum electrical load, a 10-minute stabilized idle, 3 controlled key cycles, and a minimum 2-hour wait. The wait is where the reset actually happens. 3. The relearn phase, 20 to 30 miles of smooth, varying driving after restart, determines the quality of everything the ECU rebuilds. It is not a bonus step. 4. Toyota, Lexus, and Honda users with electronic throttle control need the separate throttle body relearn or risk a hanging idle that the ECU alone will not resolve. 5. If symptoms return within 2 to 3 tanks after a clean relearn, you have a genuine sensor or mechanical issue. The reset confirmed it rather than caused it. Performing this procedure before replacing sensors, throttle bodies, or injectors can eliminate parts and labor costs that routinely run between $300 and $900. I want to test something. Comment below with this. What symptom is your car showing right now? Rough idle? Bad fuel economy? Slow acceleration? Something entirely different? Try the procedure, then come back and update your comment with what actually changed. Let's see how many cars this fixes. If this video gave you a real answer to something you've been chasing, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to Your Motor Care. New videos every week, always accurate, never padded. Your comment is waiting. Drop it below.